Hello. So I just got banned off Twitter the other day. Um, it's my only contact with the outside world. I'm basically COVID lockdown life. Um, so this is how the Silicon Valley Nazis, the Nazis that run Silicon Valley, um, you know, terrorize the population by putting millions of people in literal solitary confinement. Because we used the wrong language or somehow fell afoul of their fascist algorithms. Um, I mean, that particular thing, it seems like it was, unless it was my tweet against Andy No or whatever. I think it was just like this gang of people online that disagreed with me about one thing. And even though I was actually agreeing with their main point, but I wasn't agreeing enough with them, and they're just such evil scum that they, just targeted me, harassed me, bullied me like for the whole day, and then mass reported all my tweets and got me kicked off Twitter. This was a group of prostitutes that they were arguing against prostitution being illegal. And I said, yeah, I believe it should be legal. And then they said that that's a chauvinist thing, and that if I wasn't a chauvinist, I would want it to be decriminalized instead. And I'm like, well, that just means they can still fine you and it's still illegal. So and they're like, no, it doesn't. And so they just piled on me for a whole day over that, and then got me deleted off social media. So, I mean, honestly, like, yeah, I think this world needs a confrontation of the evil people inside it, because no matter what evil people might pretend, people are either good or evil, like, I mean, there are people who are good sometimes and evil some of the time. So there's that too. But you're either like a person who's consistently good or you're not. And if you're not, and you don't have a good reason to, and you're punching down or you're just attacking random people, you should be isolated. Those are the people who should be canceled, not me. Not me for just having the temerity or having the gall to disagree with somebody on the internet. It's these people who will get somebody, ruin somebody's life just because they disagreed with one thing they said on the internet. And yet in our society, there's zero consequence for people who destroy each other's lives on the internet or destroy people's lives on the internet. Like, if you don't physically attack somebody, it's like there's no consequences, and a lot of people just don't even care. It's just treated as like, well, whatever. It's all's fair in this fucking evil society. But I mean, like Tara Reid, like, I mean, Tara Reid kind of canceled me too. But one thing she was right about, because she gets harassed a lot too on Twitter, is that there needs to be repercussions for these people. I know a lot of like people don't like that because, like if you mind your P's and Q's and nobody harasses you, then you might just want to go along to get along and say, can't we all just be friends? Like, no, these people ruin people's lives. And if you're okay with them, then I'm not okay with you either. Um, anyway, so yeah, like Twitter is evil, Facebook is evil. I'm banned off Facebook for another 20 days, and I'm sure I'll get banned again as soon as they come back. Like they let me on for a week and then they banned me for a month, and they let me on for a week, banned me for a month. And it's like a lot of people just think shit is funny, or they think, oh yeah, it's just a website. No, it's not a website. It's our society. Like we don't have society anymore because well, because we just have these websites now. There's no like, and because of COVID, that's all there is. If you want to talk to people, unless you have just like this long list of phone numbers of people you can call personally. But in terms of a society, like interacting with society at large, that's where you do it. You don't do it. You can't go into the streets. It's like certainly not now during COVID. Um, I mean, it certainly wouldn't be easy to do that. So, so yeah, I mean, these people are terrorists. Like, I if I ever get any money, like I can't probably sue anybody because I have no power, no money, no job. But if I ever have the power to sue anybody, I'll definitely sue Mark Zuckerberg and Jack, whatever the Twitter guy, for torturing me, for terrorizing me, for putting me in solitary confinement for collectively probably years of my life, where I've basically everybody that I've known, I have not been able to speak to because of them, because I, uttered the wrong word or, told off some Nazi or some troll. Um, so yeah, I I don't know. I think like this is like there's a lot of people like on the left and liberals and hippies and leftists that just want to like have a peaceful, anarchistic solution to everything. But when people are evil and when people do evil things to other people, like you can abolish the police, you can abolish prisons, but these people will be made to pay, and you can call it whatever you want, but they will be made to pay, and you can just cry about it. These, ignorant hippies that just want everything to be kumbaya and peace. You know, no, it's not peace when, it was peace until people do evil acts. That breaks the peace. That's why unpeaceful things should happen to those people who break the peace. There should be consequences. I believe there's any way that you harm a person unjustly, that person should have the right to do as much or more to you. Simple as that. Because otherwise there's no deterrent for anything. Like if you say like, well, if you cut off somebody's head, like we'll, put you in jail for a week, or we'll put you. I don't know. And I'm not sure what the left means when they say abolishing prisons. I think it's just stupid grandstanding and virtue signaling, because they're, most people's politics has no relation to reality. Um, I mean, I would free probably most of the people in prison now, and I would fire basically all the police that exist now, and probably abolish the police, or replace it with democratic, uh, you know, transparent, voluntary militias, but citizens militias. But yeah, I don't know. I say like if I was pissed off before, then I guess these people wanted me more pissed off, because um, here is what they do to me. They kick me off everything I go on. I'm like just ban like every day of my life from the world, which is social media, is the way I know anybody. Um, so if it gets messy getting justice from these scum, then I don't know, dude. People who complain when it's gonna get messy, I'll say, well, you should have done something. You should have tried some other way, because either you haven't tried shit and you haven't done shit, or whatever you tried has not worked. Because here we are, and it's time for revolution. It's time for confrontation, for no longer tolerating evil people and ending their evil by any means necessary, and relinquishing any respect from the people who will hate us for doing this, who will say, oh, well, if you're not a pacifist, then you're just as bad as them. No, you're just as bad as them. People who will demonize us for fighting back are just as bad as the people we're fighting back against, and they are indispensable to that power system. You turn the other cheek people. That's the whole reason Christianity was created, so to tell people that God says turn the other cheek. God says be a cuck. And if you believe that, you deserve to believe that. Go for it. You know, if you're going to worship somebody who tells you to be a cuck and turn the other cheek when you're getting your ass beat, then At the very least, you'll get what you ordered, and nobody should ever feel sorry for you. Um, anyway, if I sound angry at society, it's because this is, my whole life has been like this. Like, I've been kicked off social media most of the time, or at least like half of the time for the last like decade. It's the only way I know people. It's the only way I communicate with the world. Um, and it's largely for telling off evil people and, you know, speaking the truth. And a lot of times it's for no reason at all, just because their algorithm is screwed up. And in with this Twitter thing, I don't know. They didn't tell me a damn thing. Just said your account is suspended. Um, so yeah, anyway, Facebook is evil, Twitter is evil, YouTube is also evil. Um, they haven't done much to me. Maybe after this video they will, but I know they're basically the same people, and I know they've censored and a lot of people, destroyed a lot of people's lives and livelihoods just to either, just because they either just, gets them off to censor and control people, or they're doing it for like the CIA or for the media or something like that. Um, so anyway, anybody who sees this, who knows me, who knew me from Twitter or whatever, knew me on Twitter, maybe if you want to stay in touch, like send me a message, or leave a comment or something, tell me some way that I can stay in touch with you. Not sure if anybody will see this video, but hopefully somebody will. Um, I mean, maybe I'll get back on there somehow. I already got banned twice, so I don't have any extra like email addresses or any or phones or devices, or I don't know. I'm just definitely not feeling like trying to figure that out anytime soon. So much as I love a lot of people on there, like a lot, and have a lot of respect for a lot of people on there, they're gone to me because, some people decide to mass report me, and that's the way the world works now. It's like the powers that be cater to the most evil elements of our society, including themselves and their friends. So, um, yeah, Silicon Valley is evil. I grew up in Silicon Valley. I mean, I guess I knew it was evil by the time I was like 18 or something, when I started to really read more about it. I realized how much they totally destroyed the soil of Silicon Valley and the water just to make a buck. They literally gave their own children, like the Silicon Valley execs, gave their own children, like, you know, uh, birth defects and stuff. Like Silicon Valley, that's where these companies are all based. And these companies polluted their own valley so much that kids in their own valley drinking the water were getting birth defects. And so that's the kind of people they are. They would literally kill their mother for like a dime. You know, they would. I mean, I guess they don't care. Either they're so stupid they don't even piece it together that like, oh, pollution, like we're killing ourselves too, or they just figure like, well, we'll just drink, you know, Perrier or whatever, and we'll just be dead before the really worst consequences of our actions start to set in anyway. So that'll just be for our children's generation, and clearly they don't care about posterity. Shut up, Oreo. I'm trying to do a video. Why are you such a like over dramatic cat? All right. Um, so Oreo is the only human contact I basically have now, other than my people I live with, the family I live with. So, and Oreo's kind of a psycho, so it's not really necessarily a good trade or whatever. But I mean, he's okay. But there's a lot of people who don't even have Oreo with them, and they get banned off social media. Like it's literally against the Geneva Conventions to put somebody in solitary confinement, especially for any length of time. You know, like even in prison, a lot of times they won't put somebody in there for longer than, like I don't know how long it is, a day or two, or they have limits on it, is what I'm saying. There's no limit on how much Silicon Valley will put people in solitary confinement during a lockdown quarantine. They'll just ban you for life for like saying some naughty word or posting some naughty meme because they're the, like the, I don't know, the like arrogant, judgmental snitches of the world. And, the thought police. And they'll just say, oh, we're putting you in solitary confinement forever. It's literally torture. It's literally against the Geneva Conventions. I mean, you could say, like, okay, well, they're a private corporation, so it's not torture or whatever. Like, they got the monopoly they got through, like, no kind of honest means. Like, if if it was just the market or whatever, we'd still be on MySpace. Nobody likes Facebook more than MySpace. We all fucking hate Zuckerberg. We all love Tom. But MySpace doesn't exist because Zuckerberg destroyed it. And maybe Tom destroyed it too. But I'm just saying, like, they've used everything in their arsenal to basically gain a monopoly without creating any product or anything. Like Facebook didn't, like, there might have been a couple features that were an improvement, but mostly all the features that were different from MySpace were worse. You know, so the only reason Facebook is a success is just because people all started going on there, and then you had to go on there to talk to those people. So it just became a self-fulfilling thing. I mean, it's pretty funny. Like originally, it started as this. It was all the stupid snobs like, yeah, see what they did, it's shouldn't be a surprise of like the consequences of this type of mindset. Like all these stupid snobs who hated MySpace because there's too many teenagers and too many selfies or whatever. So they're like, oh, MySpace is dumb and like immature. We're going to Facebook, and Facebook is, it was originally like supposed to be only for college graduates, or I guess students and graduates, and you were like the first thing you're supposed to, when you join, you're supposed to like put your school, and then it like puts you into the network of like that school or something, like that's how it was based on. And it didn't become that because it was dumb, but that's how like they tricked some of those snobby people to join on. And then eventually some other people were kind of curious and they're like, we'll check it out. And then eventually other people were like, well, there's all those people on there, I guess we'll go on there. And then people started leaving MySpace. Like none of it had anything to do with Mark Zuckerberg creating any kind of like good product of any kind. It was just like a stampede that nobody had any control over. Like the stampede, it's going, okay, it's going to Facebook now, and might as well go there because everybody left MySpace. I'm not going to just be talking to myself in MySpace. So yeah, like you can say, oh, they're a private company, but like they're not really a private company. They're so close to the government. They are basically the government. They're on their board is like the Atlantic Council or something, like basically a deep state British like foreign policy, like British, basically the British Empire. It's like controls this. Um, and the US government, like, and they, work closely with the NSA, CIA, Israeli military intelligence, etc. Um, you know, so for the, so yeah, the argument like, well, they're a private company. I mean, at the very least, if they're a private company, they shouldn't exist. And yeah, somebody should bring back MySpace or anything that's not like so fascist and you know and of course a lot of the left. I would say maybe the majority of Democrats and a good portion of leftists love censorship, and the only reason they hate Zuckerberg is because he hasn't banned millions more people off of there, and he hasn't disabled and deleted even more accounts. So that's why, when I say that I'm a leftist, but I hate most supposed leftists, that's who I'm talking about. These Nazi authoritarian scum who are cops, they're basically cops, but they call themselves leftists. And they're just like, well, somebody said something on the internet and the website didn't delete it immediately, even when I reported it. Like, okay, dude. I mean, you can be pissed off if they're deleting you, but they don't delete the other people. But if you're just mad they're not deleting enough people, then you're what's wrong with society. It's like, um, I don't know. I would say, like, yeah, again, I consider it literally legal, torture. Like, I consider it to be against the Geneva Conventions, what Silicon Valley does to people like me. Keeps us in constant solitary confinement, during COVID, during lockdown, during all this. Um, you know, and they're scum, they have no right to judge me or anybody. They're Nazis. They support the US government, which murders brown people every day. Um, so there's not going to be, uh, yeah, I don't know. I take this, I guess, as the sign, like if they're trying to communicate or the universe is trying to communicate with me, what they're telling me is, you know, like the world is even worse and the power structure is even worse than you thought. So even though you've been angry, Rowan, you have not been angry enough, clearly, because um, that's the message. The message is a big fu, basically, to me. Is saying like, oh, you thought, like, you knew the power system was evil, but you didn't quite realize how evil it is. Well, look, it's really, really evil, you sucker. So suck it up. Like, no, not gonna suck it up. Like, um, yeah, they like they want me angry, and I don't think it's gonna end well for them, you know, because um, because I'm a revolutionary. When revolutionaries get angry, it doesn't end well for the people that piss them off. So I wouldn't say like to everybody should be a revolutionary necessarily. I mean, be safe, be careful. I'm not out there like fighting the cops in the streets or anything, but you know, we definitely need revolution. So at the very least, stay out of the way. Don't hate. Um, anyway, so yeah, anybody who knows me from Twitter, try to comment or something so I could stay in touch with some of you.